Aloha and welcome to the Senate Committee on Energy, Economic Development and Tourism joint hearing with the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection, the 9:45 agenda. Today we have one bill on our joint agenda for today. This meeting is being live streamed on YouTube, and in the unlikely event we have to abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business at 9:45 on Thursday, March 23rd in this room, and a public notice will be posted on the legislator website. Before we get started, I'm gonna let Senator Keokalole say a few words because I know a lot of his constituents are here, so if you would like to.
Sure. Well, we'd like to welcome everyone watching online and everyone who's joining us today. We have some visitors from Kaneohe who are here to witness legislative action. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming. If the spirit compels, this is an open public hearing and we are taking testimony on this measure as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So we're wanting to get started, and by the way, welcome. You have a very great senator that I've got the privilege of serving with in the House and now at the Senate. So by all means, if you got to give him some grief, here's your chance. So up first is House Bill, and the only bill, House Bill 949, HD2 relating to energy, renewable energy. First up, Debate Chair Chris Arias.
Good morning, aloha chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. Chris Sariyasu, DEFER director, and we stand on our testimony and support. Thank you.
Next, Gwen Yamamoto Lau from Green Infrastructure Authority.
Good morning, chairs, vice chairs, and members of the committee. I stand on my written testimony and strong support for this bill, and also wanted to underscore that this bill has the potential to help thousands of Alice families redirect limited household funds that would have gone to pay the utility to purchase food, medicine, and other necessities every month over the next 20 years. Additionally, with the volatility in the banking industry caused by the failure of two banks, this has resulted in a tightening of credit, further limiting access to capital for our struggling families. Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity to testify, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Gwen. Next up, Mark Glick, Chief Energy Officer on Zoom.
Present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, in support, Dean Nishina, Acting Executive Director for DCCA, also on Zoom.
Chair, sorry, you will need a moment.
See, and then we do have technical difficulties. So that woman that's talking to us, sorry that you guys gotta like extend your neck the other way. I think we're gonna figure this out sooner than later. Hi, Dean. Go ahead.
Morning.
Dean, you up?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I think I was having technical difficulties on my side. Dean Nishina with the Division of Consumer Advocacy in the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. You have a written testimony offering our support. I'm available for questions if you have any. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next, Director of Budget and Finance, Luis Olivera, with comments. Next, Rocky Mold, testifying on behalf of Hawai'i Solar Energy Association on Zoom.
Aloha chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. HSEA stands on its written testimony in strong support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. We have numerous people in support of this measure. At this time, is there anyone in the room also wanting to speak on this measure? Seeing none, committee, any questions for the testifiers? Can I have Gwen, please? So Gwen, what is the demand for the loans?
So the demand is quite high. Right now, with our current funds, we are not able to finance batteries, and that's what we're struggling with. And in fact, during COVID, a Hilo family that we had to help actually had to save their stimulus checks to pay for the battery. Currently, because they were able to do that, they're saving $500 a month. With this bill, which will allow us to finance solar plus storage, that will help us deploy the funds quicker without having the families come up with a down payment towards the battery.
So with $200 million, how many homes can we help?
I actually did an estimate on the 300 million that is in the budget bill. We can help over 10,000 families in the first flow, and then the funds will be repaid and reinvested into additional Alice families.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I have a follow-up question, Mark.
Go ahead, Chair.
So I don't think I see you're not specifically codifying loan terms that you're going to develop the program.
The program is already there. We do our loans, we stretch it out for 20 years in order to.
Oh, this is an expansion of eligibility?
Correct.
So on batteries, from my understanding, the warranties are usually 10 years. So how are you working out the loan terms to make sure that people aren't paying back a loan on a battery that has already exceeded warranty?
Yeah, so the warranty is 10 years, but it doesn't stop working at year 11. So what we do in our calculations is we already incorporate the degradation rate that is provided by the manufacturer. Every battery has a different degradation rate. So our loan goes up to 20 years. The degradation is incorporated in that savings that goes out to 20 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Wakai.
Gwen, help me understand. HECO has their battery bonus program. How does this? Can people double dip, take HECO's benefits and then take this benefit as well?
And some of them are, yes.
And that's good?
That is good because that can give them even more savings. Battery bonus is not limited to Alice families, but allowing our Alice families to also take advantage of that provides them even greater savings.
So if they were to take a bite of the HECO battery bonus as well as this, what's the maximum an Alice family could get from both plans?
Oh, it just depends on the size of the battery. So it depends on their historical consumption.
Thank you. Any other question? Seeing none, we will recess for decision making. Okay, HB 949 relating to renewable energy. My recommendation is to pass as is. Committee members, any discussion? Seeing none, Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Wakai votes.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Kim is excused. Senator Favela is excused. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
CPN committee, same recommendation. Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator McKelvey.
Yes.
Senator Richards.
Aye.
Senator Alon.
Aye.
Thank you. Measures adopted.
And with that, we are adjourned for the joint agenda. Thank you.
Morning and welcome to the Hawaii State Senate Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection. We are here for our Tuesday, March 21st, 9:55 a.m. agenda, where we will be hearing one bill and three resolutions. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. In the unlikely event that we must abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committee will try to reconvene to discuss any outstanding business on Thursday, March 23rd at 10:01 a.m. Here in conference room 229, and a public notice will be posted on the legislature's website. Again, our committee, if this is your first time, our committee recognizes a 2-minute testimony time limit in order to ensure that everyone who registered to testify is able to do so. We have received and reviewed your written remarks, so I'd encourage you to use your time to clarify or add any additional comments. You're also free to stand on your testimony and make yourself available for questions from the members. The first measure on this agenda is HB 259 HD1 relating to consumer protection. This measure prohibits using geographic origins of coffee in labeling or advertising for roasted or instant coffee that contains less than a certain percentage of coffee by weight from that geographic origin, phased into a minimum of 51% on or after July 1st, 2025. First up, we have the Hawaii Department of Agriculture and Support. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Sharon Hurd, Department of Agriculture. The department stands in support of this measure. Comments, however, that we do request a full-time inspector to handle this particular inspection. There is a appropriation request in here, and we appreciate your consideration of the measure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on line, we have the Hawaii Coffee Association in support. Good morning.
Good morning, Aloha Chair. Chris Manfredi, testifying for Hawaii Coffee Association. We strongly support this measure. This is something we've been working on for a number of years. Coffee industry stakeholders have been asking for this for decades. We think it's high time to listen to what the industry wants and effect this change. Thank you for hearing our testimony. We're available for questions.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Rancho Aloha Coffee Farm online in support. Good morning.
Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Bruce Corker. I'm a farmer in the North Kona District, and I strongly support HB 259 as an important step in the right direction for Hawaii-grown agricultural products. I'd like to make 3 brief points in support of passage. The first is that by moving to a minimum of 51% Hawaii-grown content and clear identification of the percentage of foreign-grown coffee in Hawaii coffee blends, this bill will help to protect consumers from deception and fraud. Second, HB 259 will protect the reputation of Hawaii-grown coffee and the economic interests of farmers. And third, and I think this is most important, HB 259 will help to protect Hawaii's reservoir of goodwill that it enjoys on the mainland and around the world. As a state with an economy that is heavily dependent on tourism, Hawaii should be concerned about protecting that goodwill, and failure to follow basic principles of truth in labeling undermines the goodwill. Consumers, including tourists, do not like to be misled or cheated by deceptive advertising and labeling. Please protect Hawaii's goodwill. Please protect our farmers. Please protect consumers, and please pass this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next online, we have Kanalani Ohana Farm in support. Good morning.
My name is Kolewer Bandera, Kanalani Ohana Farm in Honaunau, Hawaii. I submitted testimony, which I stand by, but I want to add a comment, which is the fact that, in my opinion, having raised 2 children on my farm in South Kona, the truth is we are all consumers, every single one of us. I don't care if we're farmers or coffee processors or what we do with products. We're all consumers, and consumer deception is a critical issue to consider. And when I'm raising my children and I'm processing my coffee, I never, from an integrity perspective, could dismiss the fact that I couldn't answer to them that it's my coffee or actually what it is that I'm putting in the bag and it matches the label, unless it was the truth. For me, it's irrelevant, frankly, about how much money is coming out of the process vis-a-vis misleading consumers to get that money. And I think that my children were raised recognizing that I'm going to look out for honesty before I'm going to look out for cash in my pocket. And I think that that is what it comes down to, is we need truth in labeling, we need honesty, and we need to be raising children and having a community that isn't lying to one another and misleading one another. And in my opinion, that is how we can have a strong and healthy community. So thank you for your support, Chair and committee members, for this piece of legislation. I think it's critical for all of us, and I appreciate your listening to me. Aloha.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Jeffrey Clark of the Edmund Olson Trust in support online. Good morning.
Good morning. Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. My name is Jeff Clark. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Edmund C. Olson Trust, which owns the Ka'u Coffee Mill in the Ka'u District. I stand in support of this bill, HB 259, of labeling coffee for origin. And as I think this committee knows, we have several bills in front of the legislature this session that relate to agricultural products, mamaki tea, macadamia nuts, and in this case, coffee. They all have a common thread in that they're seeking to protect local farmers' interests, of pretty much saving the local farming industry. You know, and I'll talk about coffee in this instance because this is the coffee bill, but, you know, this cuts across all commodities in that, you know, Hawaii farmers really built a reputation for growing high quality crops. And so one of the reasons why some of the coffee here in Hawaii actually commands a high price is because of that quality that started at the farm level. Now, what happens is, you know, you have blending going on right now with 10% blends at the current time, which take advantage of that high quality, you know, grown coffee, blended with some lower quality, lower cost coffee, and really a marketing move. Now, no other, you know, there's other states that have regions that they seek to protect, and they don't allow 10% blends. For example, we don't see 10% Idaho potatoes, 10% Napa wine, 10% Florida oranges. I ask you to support this bill. This will help protect the farming industry here in Hawaii. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Suzanne Schreiner online in support. Good morning.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and committee members. Good morning. I am Suzanne Schreiner. I'm the immediate past president of the Kona Coffee Farmers Association. I'm a second generation vertically integrated farmer, and I'm also the administrator of the Synergistic Hawaii Ag Council. SHAC stands on our testimony in strong support of this bill through our written comments, but I'd like to add a few others, if I may. One of SHAC's marketing programs is in Taiwan, where we work closely with DBET to promote 100% Hawaiian coffee, and it's been a very successful marketing campaign. But our Taiwanese buyers have concerns about purchasing our state's coffee because of the blend issue. They are unsure if they can buy or trust the open market for Kona or Ka'u or Maui coffees. And this 10% blend has a ripple effect on consumers in the global marketplace where we compete. Food labels are a critical component of our ag economy and affect a farmer's ability to earn a fair price for their products. So we appreciate your support of the growth of local and regional food systems, and we respectfully ask that you move this bill forward as is and support the farmers of Hawaii. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have a Hawaii Coffee Company on Zoom in opposition.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Thank you for hearing me today. I'm Gerard Bastians, President of Hawaii Coffee Company, testifying in opposition to HB 259 HD1. Last year, Act 222 SLH 2022 appropriated funds to the Hawaii Department of Agriculture to conduct an independent study to assess the economic impact of Hawaii coffee labeling laws on local coffee farmers and the local coffee industry. It is our understanding that Governor Green recently released those funds to the Department of Agriculture and is in the process of developing an RFP for this study, which will be due to the legislature prior to the convening of the 2024 session. We believe it is prudent to wait for the study to be completed before taking action on this bill that will have, we believe, a very significant impact on farmer businesses and consumers. Hawaii Coffee Company offers a range of coffee from 10% Kona blends to 100% Kona coffee, and all products are labeled clearly reflecting whether the coffee is a blend or 100% Kona coffee to ensure consumers are fully informed of the composition of the product. My written testimony outlines reasons why we believe it is important to offer consumers a range of coffee products. For these reasons, we ask you to hold the measure. If the committee is inclined to move the bill forward, we ask that you defer the bill until next week to consider amendments. For example, the phasing of the increase in percentages to start July 1st, 2023 is not feasible. With products having a shelf life of 1 year, it is unreasonable for distributors and retailers, such as grocery stores, to be able to comply with this bill by July 1st, 2023. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Bruce Silverglade, online in support. Good morning.
Aloha, I'm Bruce Silverglade. I'm a lawyer specializing in food regulation, particularly food labeling, and I spent much of my career protecting consumers from deceptive marketing claims. This bill is an essential consumer protection measure that will prevent deception in the marketplace. I've submitted a written statement, and so I'd like to spend the remainder of my time calling attention to a statement submitted by the Consumer Federation of America. CFA is one of the leading consumer advocacy organizations in the United States and based in Washington, D.C. It too submitted a written statement strongly supporting this bill, noting that current state law in Hawaii has been said to be tantamount to allowing food processors to take the juice from 1 orange, blended with juice from 9 lemons, and then label the product as orange juice blend. Such practices are in fact prohibited by federal law and are considered deceptive across the country. Also, as the CFA notes, while current law requires blenders to disclose the percentage of so-called Kona blends, the package I'm holding here contains the word Kona 6 times on the sides, on the back, on the other side, on the top. So the net impression of this product label is that it is some type of Kona coffee, and that Kona coffee is the prominent ingredient, when in fact the opposite is the truth, is fact. In closing, I'd like to note that the Hawaii Coffee Company has stated in previous testimony that its claims are trademarked. Trademarks do not create immunity from laws prohibiting deceptive marketing. I have legal authority cited in my statement, submitted in writing on this point. I'd be happy to answer any questions about it. I'd also like to note the remark that was just made by the previous witness that the Department of
Thank you, Mr. Silverglade.
Okay,
your time is up. If you can remain online, I actually have a question for you at the conclusion of the testimony. Thank you. I'd like to note that that's all the registered testimony that we have from individuals who indicated they would be present at the hearing. Is there anyone in the room or online who would like to testify that we may have missed? Okay, I'd like to note that in total, we received supporting testimony from 54 individuals or organizations and opposition from 3 organizations. Members, any questions? Vice Chair.
I guess for Department of Agriculture, you know, in the House Draft 1 version, you know, there's kind of a phased transition period. Was there any discussion in the prior chamber of potentially moving all the way to 100%?
No, but if may I call my quality assurance administrator up? He would have been in that hearing. I believe I might have missed it.
Good morning, Leo Baldo, Department of Agriculture. Regarding your question, Senator, there was no move to move from 10% to 100%. They initially, basically, was to move it to 51%.
Okay, so it's kind of a transitional period, but it sounds like the expectation and the goal of most of the coffee growers and I guess consumer marketing trade associations is really to have truth in advertising, which would ultimately be kind of closer to 51 to 100%. Right?
Yeah, 51% is their aim to really in line with the other requirements like made in Hawaii, Hawaii made kind of, so it's gonna be consistent. 100% is always an option where companies can make as part of their
Okay.
business.
Thank you.
Members, any other questions?
Sure.
Senator Richards.
Yeah, thank you. So just following up on that, for truth in labeling, if we have, pick a number, 25%, you could label it Kona coffee blend. Would that be legal in the labeling?
Yeah, so the labeling 25% Kona is basically good because the requirement right now is 10%. So 25% Kona is acceptable.
Okay.
So you can label it 15, 30.
Okay, but if you were to, assuming this goes through with a 51%, if you had a blend of 25% and labeled it Kona coffee blend 25%, that would be legal?
Illegal. It will become illegal.
Illegal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chair.
Members, any other questions?
Ask my questions, so go ahead, Chair.
Thank you. I have a question for, no, not for you guys, for Mr. Silverglade online. If you can unmute, yeah, okay. So thank you for your testimony. As it relates to your comments on a claim for deception, what type of case wins on that, and what's the remedy? Who's the victim, and what is the remedy there?
Well, the standard is what the net impression of the label is to the reasonable consumer. So the net impression, and the courts have found, is the total impression left by the label, not that the label discloses in one place that is 10%, but what is the overall impression of the entire package on the reasonable consumer. And the courts have ruled that the consumer need not turn the package around to read the small print on the ingredient list. It's the overall impression of the package to what's the takeaway message for the consumer. The remedy in court has been both to get an injunction to stop the claims on a particular label and to provide restitution to consumers. But that's a very time-consuming, resource-intensive exercise that takes a lot of resources of the judicial system and takes a lot of resources and legal fees that are unnecessary. So if the legislature passes this legislation, it will create a level competitive playing field and create a label that meets consumer expectations when they see the term Kona on the label.
So, my reading of this is that the jurisdiction of the department doesn't exceed the boundaries of the state of Hawaii. Am I getting this right?
I will let the.
I guess the question is, it seems like what you're saying is that somebody who's buying a packet of coffee from Safeway doesn't really have in all likelihood, doesn't have the time or the means to take on a corporation for deception when the remedy is, whatever the difference is between the price of a packet of 10% coffee versus a packet of 100%.
There has been litigation between competitors under the Lanham Act that Mr. Corker could talk about. There's also a line of authority that would allow an individual consumer to find a lawyer to bring a class action case on behalf of consumers who are alleged to be defrauded and that they overpaid. It would be a case that would take 3 to 5 years to complete. We count on legislatures and regulatory bodies to set a level competitive playing field to avoid the need for that type of litigation. The Federal Food and Drug Act does not preempt states except in specific areas. The state of Hawaii would have authority under federal law to proceed with HB 259. Federal law would not prohibit Hawaii from proceeding with that. States can proceed with stronger labeling regulations than the federal FDA has in place, so long as they don't conflict with other existing FDA regulations.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Quick
Senator McKelvey.
question. So, you made a mention you would cut off because of the time of the testimony of the Hawaii, I believe. Sorry, my terrible eyes. Hawaii Coffee Company. What was your point that you were trying to make before you ran out of time? In regards of, was it for the Lanham Act? Were you trying to?
I was speaking about this label, which is says 10% blend here, but up here it says Royal Kona. Up here it says Royal Kona. Here it talks about Kona coffee. Here it talks about Kona coffee twice. So the term Kona coffee is mentioned 6 times here, and only once is there a disclosure that it's 10%. The general principle of food labeling law and consumer protection is that you can't mislead people and then put a disclosure on the package to try to remedy that deception. But that's exactly what this product does. And unfortunately, that's what current Hawaii law allows. What we're asking for, and the Consumer Federation of America is asking for, is to bring Hawaii law in line with consumer expectations. Consumers expect a product labeled Kona to be predominantly, if not 100%, at least predominantly 51% Kona coffee.
Okay. There's nobody online or testifying from the Kona coffee growers themselves, right? At all, Chair?
And we have a number of individual Kona growers if you would like to speak.
Well, yeah, if one of them could answer.
Maybe, Mr. Manfredi, is Mr. Manfredi on?
Yes, Chair.
Oh,
I'm here.
Okay, no, I just saw the testimony in opposition from the Kona Coffee Council, and I guess they say they represent 400 farms on Hawaiian Island. They're worried about the impact this would have to the farmers, the Kona coffee farmers that do green coffee market sales. I mean,
I can't speak for the Kona Coffee Council. I hear a number of rumors about it and its leadership and whether or not the members are active and some of the claims that they are making today and have made in the past. I can speak for the Hawaii Coffee Association, which has members that are positioned throughout the supply chain and throughout the state of Hawaii. And we've positioned ourselves in strong support of this measure. We did last session as well. We have a diverse group of membership, from farmers, small and large, to processors, wholesalers, roasters, retailers, really the entire spectrum of the Hawaii coffee industry. And it's a rare occasion where virtually the entire industry is unified on this measure.
To clarify,
I understand the position of the Hawaii Coffee Company, but I can speak for our stakeholders and our membership in strong support. And playing to expand on what Mr. Silverglade had to say, you can't taste one bean in 10. So to say a product is Kona or Kau or Maui or whatever growing region in Hawaii it comes from, and it doesn't taste like what that product should taste like or is not an accurate representation of it, and that undermines our quality. A lot of the coffees that are used to blend these blends are not required to follow minimum grade standards that Hawaii grown coffees are. So it places our growers at a competitive disadvantage. The coffee can be defective, it can be insect damage, it could be old, stale, have bad flavors, and that's 90% of what you're getting in a bag marked Kona and or Kau or Maui, etc. So that's what we find offensive. It creates downward price pressure when the cost of production of growing all agricultural products in Hawaii is rising. Labor's up, fertilizer is up, transportation is up, inflation obviously. And we're competing with these blends that don't even follow the same minimum grade standards that we have to follow.
Thank you, Chair.
Members, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we will move to the next measure on this agenda, which is Senate Concurrent Resolution 131, requesting the Regulated Industries Complaints Office to report the itemized total amount of fines or judgments collected and uncollected each year from 1983 to present, and to include that information in the DCCA Annual Compliance Resolution Fund report. Oh, Ms. Brown from RICO offering comments.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Esther Brown for RICO. I'm going to stand on my written testimony, but I just would like to emphasize one part of it, Chair, Vice Chair, members, and that is we don't have a problem providing this information. This year, 2023, was the first time that I've gotten a request for the amount of collected as well as uncollected fines that we have in RICO. So we would be more than happy to include that information in our Compliance Resolution Fund report that we prepare annually for the legislature. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the listed testimony we have on this measure. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Members, any questions? I have a question.
Yes, Chair.
So in your testimony, you articulate the number of paid fines or judgments in the last 5 years, and then a total number, and then an average in unpaid fines for the last 39 years.
That is correct.
So are you able to provide a year-over-year number of unpaid fines?
I think,
or in the alternative, a mix of unpaid fines or some sort of designation to acknowledge the number of individuals who were fined, who are in the process of paying off fines?
we can try to do that. The difficulty I think that my staff had is that in 2020, we implemented a new complaints management system, and we inputted, or the developer inputted, all of the data into this new system. Part of what, and then we have files that are a lot older than that as well, that are still in hard copy format down on our 8th floor. So we would probably have to see what the developer can extract from us and see if we can produce this information. The information that's in the middle of my testimony on page 2 was derived from the legal supervisor. So went through the data as well as some other information to come up with this. So if it's a question of showing how many are unpaid, we can try. We certainly can try.
Well, I think the question that seems to be, the question that I believe is being asked in this resolution is, how is the DCCA and RICO doing and collecting on an ongoing basis? So I can understand how it might be difficult to obtain that data based off of the paper records that exists, I don't know, prior to whatever date. But even to match from 2018 to now, if there's some sort of report on how many delinquents we are chasing versus how many individuals are in a payment plan versus the number of collections that you were able to obtain, then we have a much clearer picture, and I believe that was the objective of the resolution.
Okay, I think with respect to like 2018 and back, that would be a much easier thing for us to do.
Okay, great, we can start there.
Yeah, we were looking at the 39 years, and I wasn't even in college at that time.
Okay,
so
I wasn't even. Hey, members, any other questions? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the next resolution on the agenda, which is SCR 124. Urging the Real Estate Commission to develop policies and programs to inform and educate condominium association owners and board members of certain matters to promote the efficient administration of condominium associations. First up online, we have the Real Estate Commission in support. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Kilkalai, Vice Chair Fukunaga, and committee members, Keating Kleinhans, condominium specialist on behalf of the Real Estate Commission. We support this concurrent resolution and its companion measures. We do indicate that we have developed a variety of educational policies and programs for condominium owners and board members. In addition to the programs referenced in our written testimony, our website provides a couple lengthy, I think 70-page guides for owners and board members covering their rights and responsibilities, basic governance, different types and purposes of the governing documents, assessments and meetings, options for dispute resolution, other topics such as fiduciary duty, proxies, and document requests. We condensed these guides because they're so long into many bite-sized brochures, then further converted them into brief 5-minute YouTube videos for those who prefer audio-visual learning. We are exploring ways to improve the outreach aspect. Discussion with industry stakeholders has been very fruitful, and we sincerely appreciate the suggestions we received and any further we can get. Thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Next on Zoom, we have Lila Mower of Hawai'i in support. Good morning.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. I'm Lila Moore and provide these additional comments. Past interactions with the legislature reveal that many legislators do not know that there are 0 licensed condominium managing agents, CMAs. Instead, the individuals who manage associations, some who claim to manage as many as a dozen associations, each worth millions of dollars, are able to circumvent education and licensing mandates because 514B only requires management companies, some reportedly with multi-billion-dollar portfolios, to be licensed under a single individual, a real estate broker, whose education requirements are insufficient to address the knowledge and skills needed to manage condominium associations. It is cruelly inadequate protection for consumers that the state only requires only a sole individual to be licensed in each management company and as a real estate broker, and allows important responsibilities to be delegated to unlicensed, often undereducated condominium managing agents. This resolution should be amended to include the study of mandating the education of those individuals who perform condominium management services. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Next, we have Jeff Sedino in support.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Jeff Sedino, and I support this resolution because it will improve the governance and harmony of condominiums. It is cliche, but with power comes responsibility. Unfortunately, many board members have a very adolescent relationship to their responsibilities. Ironically, when a board member is ignorant of their responsibilities, all too often it is the owner who suffers the burden and pays the price. Yes, board members are volunteers, but that should not mean that other people should be responsible for their apathy. Please pass this bill so that owners stop paying the price of ignorant board members, and so condo governance and harmony can be improved. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony.
Thank you. Raylene Teno in support. You're the only one that's not my constituent. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to be here in person to testify. And I apologize if my voice gets a little emotional because this is hitting very close to what's happening right now at my condo. I'm not new to condo ownership. I've owned condos since 1990. And presently at this one condo that I've owned for the past 10 years, they are right now doing a spalling repair project, no permit. Normally, condo 101 rules that we educate people on is that you consult your attorney, the contract goes for attorney review, make sure they have the proper insurances. None of that was done. When I was at the board meeting and I said, why is it not going for attorney review? The treasurer said, well, I don't think we need to have it reviewed by an attorney. Because the last time I made them do it, or I voiced my opinion, so I'm now labeled the obstructionist. It went to the attorney, it came back with a big wash list of suggested changes or things he had issues on. And when I did my due diligence, I go, well, I need to look up the name of this company. So I Googled it, found their website, and he was supposed to be a project manager to do spalling repair plus a bunch of other repairs. So they wanted to hire a project manager. When I looked at the website, they're all in the electrical industry. There's nothing in there about doing concrete work. So I'm like, why are we doing this? And I happen to be doing business with a client that worked in the electrical field. And I said, do you know these guys? And I said, would you use them to spalling work? And he said, no, they don't have that experience. So, you know, I'm just like, we need to get these people educated. The managing agents, and I know for a fact, they do not disseminate the seminar information that CAI or HCCA provides to them. And I know that for a fact because with White Council, I am the registration person. So I send it out and I get all the registration, I put it together. And there's one condo down the road. And every time we have a seminar, I'm waiting to put the registration.
Your time is up. If you'd like to remain for questions.
Yes, I will.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sorry if I got really emotional.
That's okay. Thank you. Okay, that's all the registered testimony that we have for this measure. Is there anyone else online or in the room who would like to testify? Okay, I'd like to note 12 individuals in total testified, all in support. Members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to the final resolution on this agenda, SER 147, SR 143, requesting the Public Utilities Commission to move beyond current rate structures and provide additional benefits for those communities that host renewable energy projects. First up, offering comments, the Public Utilities Commission. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Eric Sipper, and I'm representing the Public Utilities Commission. I stand on our comments, and I'm here to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have the DCCA Division of Consumer Advocacy online with comments. Good morning.
Aloha and good morning, Chair Keoho Kolole, Vice Chair Fukunaga, members of the committee, and aloha to my fellow Kaneohe residents. My name is Dean Ishina. I'm with the Division of Consumer Advocacy in the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. You have our written testimony offering comments and supporting or appreciating the intent of this measure. And with that, I stand on that written testimony and I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We also have testimony in support of this measure from the Sierra Club of Hawaii. All right, that's all the registered testimony we've received. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Members, questions?
I have a question.
Senator Awa.
I'm not sure who to answer this, but would this, Kahuku with the wind farms, would this go back? In Kahuku, they've got the wind turbines right now. Would this be able to go back and help them get something out of that? Or is this only for future projects?
My understanding is that this is forward-looking, so for future projects.
Okay, thanks for that.
And so just to follow up, you in your testimony, you did talk about how the PUC is currently engaged in this discussion. Are any of those, are any of the proposals being discussed right now retroactive in nature as well?
As you mentioned, we've opened this equity docket, and one of the areas that we're examining is benefits for communities that host renewable energy projects. As of yet, we have not looked at retroactive measures, but I would like to stress that this is an ongoing docket that is very open to participation, and we are very open to hearing from groups. We already have several groups from Kahuku and locations such as Waianae that host many renewable energy projects participating. We welcome more participants, and we would like to hear any type of feedback like that and be very open into looking into retroactive as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Senator Richards.
Yeah. It's very loose when it says additional benefits. Can you just characterize that a little bit more precisely?
Sure. So this is a relatively new area that's being looked at across the country, benefits for communities hosting projects. We've already begun the work of looking into different examples. This can be anything from requirements to hire local labor, to donations to local nonprofits from the developer themselves. That's just two examples.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you characterizing that because I know there's been a trend to go that anyway, so this just puts it in writing. Thanks, Chair.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll recess for decision making.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning and welcome back to this Tuesday, March 21st, 9:55 a.m. CPN agenda, where we will be voting on 4 measures. The first is HB 259 HD1 relating to consumer protection. This is the coffee truth and labeling measure. Actually, the recommendation on this measure is to defer decision making on this measure until Wednesday, March 29th at 10 a.m. in conference room 229. And the reason is we have 2 more weeks before, this is a single referral bill. We have 2 more weeks on this measure. So we will entertain discussions with the stakeholders about making sure we can get the implementation right, but I do intend to make a recommendation that we pass this measure out. Any discussion? Okay, we'll move on to Senate Concurrent Resolution 131. This is requesting RICO to report the total amount of fines collected and uncollected from 1983 to present. So the recommendation is to pass this resolution out. We will keep the discussion going. We will also be making technical non-substantive amendments. So passing with an SD1. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, Vice Chair, for the vote, Chair votes aye.
Okay, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator McCarthy?
Yes.
Senator Richards?
Aye.
Senator Allen?
Aye.
Measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. Next measure is SCR 124, urging the Real Estate Commission to develop policies and programs informing condominium association owners and board members of their duties. The recommendation is to move this resolution out unamended. Any discussion? Seeing none, Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator McCarthy?
Yes.
Senator Richards?
Aye.
Senator Allen?
Aye.
Measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next group of measures are Senate Concurrent Resolution 147 and Senate Resolution 143. This is requesting the PUC to move beyond the current rate structures and provide additional benefits for communities that host renewable energy projects. The recommendation is to amend the resolution to say revise current rate structures instead of move beyond, so that we're more specific about what it is we're asking. Any discussion? Senator McKelvey.
Since the dockets are open and organic, is there a way to perhaps include some language in the reso, maybe in the committee report, to examine some of the ones like in Kahuku?
Certainly we can do that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, passing with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator McCarthy?
Yes.
Senator Richards?
Aye.
Senator Allen?
Aye.
Measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. We are adjourned. Okay, good morning. We're opening on our 10:15 a.m. decision-making agenda on a number of measures that were heard in committee on a prior date. The first is HB 844 relating to traveling team physicians. The recommendation on this measure is to pass with amendments. We will amend the measure to include the licensure exemption for doctors, for intercollegiate and professional leagues. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, passing with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator McKelvey?
Yes.
Senator Richards?
Aye.
Senator Allen?
Aye.
Measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. Next measure is SCR 8, This is the breast cancer screening auditor's report requesting a second immediate report to follow up on last year's report. We took the weekend to try and see if there's publicly available published data, that glaringly refutes the auditor's literature review. There just isn't, and there are actually other cases as it relates to other types of coverage where overtesting sometimes is problematic. And so, seeing as how this is a resolution, we can continue the conversation in the interim. I'm going to recommend we defer. The next measure is HB 1359 HD2 relating to hemp. This was jointly heard by the Agriculture and Consumer Protection Committees last week. We're going to defer decision-making on this measure to try and sort out the various issues that came up in the testimony. So we will defer decision-making on this measure to Thursday, March 23rd in this room at 10 a.m. I'm sorry, 10:05 a.m. in this room on Thursday, March 23rd. The final measure is HB 1250 HD1 relating to mamaki tea. This measure, the recommendation on this measure is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Seeing none, Chair votes aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator McCollum.
Yes.
Senator Richards.
Aye.
Senator Arnold.
Aye.
Measures adopted.
Thank you very much. We're adjourned.